Muy buenos tardes a todos. Thank you for joining us once again in virtual council with the Reviveolution. Today we have such a special treat. We are here with Tata Patricio Dominguez of the Piro Manso Tiwa Nation of New Mexico. So today we're going to be focusing on the current state of Indigenous unity, the solutions that Tata foresees with the League of Nations and One Tribal Unity, why it's important to continue supporting the nations to gather in these times, what this League of Nations could accomplish if it was functioning at its optimal state, how Tata foresees young people being able to participate and support these initiatives, how the Reviveolution is connected and how we could be a conduit for young people to participate in an effective way. And then we're going to mention the upcoming events we have planned in June and September in Peru as an opportunity for you to join in this mission amongst elders and youth alliances. So I'm going to pass the feather over for a moment to Tata so he can welcome us in opening prayer, and then I will give him a formal introduction. Tata.
I ask the Creator to bless this meeting between North and South, between the eagle and the condor, with the wisdom, with the knowledge, with the power to be more than just a blessing, but to be a force for the materialization of all of the dreams of the peoples of both of these continents that have been brewing now for 500 years. So, Creator, if you would be so kind and accept my humble petition and the wishes and the prayers of my ancestors and the ancestors of my brothers and sisters of South America, to make this possible, so that once again we could bring healing to the world that we live in, and health to our mother. For as for children, it is our duty not only to be nurtured by her, but to also be guardians and caretakers of her and keep her in good health. But she is very much larger than we are, and it will take all of us working together to bring about this blessing. So once again, Creator, from you, who has the power and the ability to make it possible, we humbly ask for this blessing. Okay, I think that'll give us what we need.
Ayaya, Pachamama. Gracias. Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Tata Patricio. He was born of the Piro Manso Tiwa Nation in New Mexico and is now married to a lovely Navajo lady. And he has the honor of being taught the ancestral ways by 3 generations of healers. And he was initiated as a man of spiritual knowledge at the age of 15, and now dances with the tribe at the 4 major feasts per year. So Patricio now lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and is on the board of directors for the Institute of Natural and Traditional Knowledge. This is an educational institution that is to take modern societies full circle. So from the first years of modernization, modern civilizations, educators believed that they could bring opportunities to traditional people. But now traditional cultures are going to bring the opportunities to the rest of the world through the lessons of traditional knowledge. So I love that is very well put and very much fits into what we're sharing about today. Patricio?
It's just a quibble, but actually I was initiated at age 5.
Age 5? Okay.
Age 5. 15.
Age 5, 15, 27, all
when you're way past 60, that 10 years don't mean too much. but yeah, it goes back quite a bit. And yeah, that statement that you just read, it was in, you might say, process for many years. I mean, you must be reading like revision number 80, 82 or whatever. But I've had a lot of opportunities and comments to deal with to make that statement. But it is, you're right. It's very, very succinct. And 20 years ago, when the final revision, the one that you just read, came about, it was pretty. It was pretty important at that time, but now it's like doubled or tripled because things have worsened so much since that time. I mean, it was a good idea 20 years ago to try to bring out some of the indigenous knowledge into the world, because the world was headed in a bad direction. Well, now that the world has pretty much taken the bad direction and taken it almost to its conclusion, it's really more important now than ever. It's because now we're not talking about a mild course correction. We're talking about a major change of life for everyone on the planet, if we want humanity to survive, because it's no longer a case of, things could be better if we did this or the other thing. But now it's a matter of, are we going to stay in the game? And that is pretty important and relevant right now. Are the human beings going to listen to the calls for a complete change of life? Back to you, so that you can ask me the first question.
Okay. So the first question that I'd like to know about is, what is the current status of Indigenous unity? I know that you've been part of the organizing team for the first 3 gatherings in the Americas, and so we would love to know a little bit about that, and what's the current status of bringing our Indigenous nations together?
Okay, yes, there it comes. Okay. In 1985, the Maya people And it's like, get the heck out of here. Where's your visa? Where's your passport? Where's your, did I have to for a tribe living in the Amazon that has no clue what a birth certificate is to go to apply to the Brazilian government for a passport to go to the United States. It's like, it was absurd.
We had to, this issue.
All of that had to be dealt with. It's like, oh my God. So anyway, between 1985 and about just to get people to show up. And so, that was just one of the things. Then I'd run into tribes that would tell me, oh, yes, well, this is really, really good. We understand everything that you said. We understand it perfectly. To participate, and we know how important this is, but we can't participate because it didn't come to us in our language. And it's like, whoa. So little by little, tribes were falling out and that sort of stuff. And then the last hurdle I had to deal with was this one where the elders would say, yes, we got to go. Yes, we're definitely ready. We know all about this. We're good to go. Where's the meeting? And I said, okay, the meeting is just like the prophecy. Those from the center will bring together the eagle of the north and the condor of the south, and they will work as one, like the fingers of a prepared flights, arranged for visas and all of the things that were necessary to take elders to Central America for the gathering of the closing of the old age and the opening of the new age. Well, we get there, and what we found was almost every tribe from Central America was there. Hundreds of tribes. people into the United States for a religious ceremony, which was a comedy in itself. The way it was done was just absolutely, it could never happen today in today's climate. But in 1996, when we did it, here is what happened. We talked to a senator, worked with the State Department, and the State Department then the planes came in from Central and South America into Dallas. We assembled them. We assembled all the people in there, and the instructions were for the immigration people, when they saw our party come, that they were all supposed to go on coffee break. And that's exactly what they did. Everybody in the immigration was no longer at their desks. Immigration was just cleared, and hundreds of people marched through immigration on their way to the next group of planes. So we're going to pick them up in Dallas and fly them to the meeting site here in North America. And this was incredible, because people were like, who saw this, they were probably just flabbergasted, because some of the people coming out of the Amazon were wearing, tiger teeth or jaguar teeth around their necks. They had skins of every kind imaginable, headdress feathers that were just outrageous. And this is all. I mean, this was their total dress. This is like, they were carrying almost nothing else except their little ceremonial stuff. And it's like, this is really, really unbelievable. So this procession walks through the Dallas airport onto the next planes that flew them into the meeting site. So it was quite the tenacious. In fact, actually, they were mad that we didn't accommodate more of them. And it's like, but at $1,000 a flight, it was, yeah, it was a bit much. It was, we did the best we could with what we had. And so, anyway, the old age was the prayers to close the old age were done. The prayers to open the new age were done. And the eagle and the condor met, and when I was there and I was watching the prayers, a new age in the best way we possibly can. And I think at one time I commented to the elders, not in ceremony, because in ceremony we were doing mostly ceremony and didn't really have a lot of room for comment, but out of ceremony I commented something to the effect that I really think that 13 years after this ceremony we should do another ceremony, you might say, to course correct, because I felt that that the way we ask them that ceremony, unless things really are different. Who knows? Maybe the borders will come down and the visas and all that stuff will no longer be necessary, and then we can all walk to the gathering nice and peacefully, and we can do an elegant ceremony with hundreds, maybe 1,000 elders or whatever is necessary to bring on a glorious new age, because an age lasts a long time. So 13 years is nothing at all. We're talking about a 26,000 year age. It's like, what the heck is 13 years? It's nothing. So even if it takes us 3 months to walk to the ceremony, it's like our people are tough. We can do this. We've done it before. In fact, there's this wonderful what do they call these things? A ruin. They call it a monument now over here in my country, in New Mexico. That is a tiny stones about that big, making a series of structures that are acres big, and it's where kivas that would accommodate hundreds of people, just for this purpose. This nobody ever lived there. Ceremonial site. We've done this before. We have to do it again every single time. Fortunately, we have 26,000 years to prepare for each one of these. But like I said, I'm really interested in doing a course correction in 2012 plus 13, 2028. Okay, in 2028. My number is good. Okay, in 2028 we'll do a course correction. But in the meantime, we have to keep this dialogue going, especially now while there's still borders and all of that, and they're still trying to.
I got you. I had myself on mute. There we go. Okay, so I just said first I want to give you a virtual high five and say that's so funny, this story about the coffee break. I love that story so much. I can actually really relate to some of the issues that you're speaking about. I work with the Q'ero Nation here in Peru, and they have no address. They have no documents. They have no birth certificates, and getting one elder to go to the US is so insanely hard. And then having the finances to make that happen. And every time we go across the border, he gets strip searched. They don't know that his poncho is his clothes, and they make him take his clothes off, and he's like down in undergarments, you know, in the airport, and he's like, Caroline, take a picture of me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is being discriminated. And so I really appreciate that story about the coffee break. I wish everyone would take a coffee break every time we try to go through with crystal skulls and like different items, and they're like, what's this? And turning your sacred items upside down, and you're sitting here like having a heart attack. Like, don't touch that. So I think that's really, really funny. And I really love that. And so one of the things that I wanted to mention too, you were saying that you'd like to do like a course correction ceremony in 13 years. And I think that it's really significant that you say 13, like the moon cycle. So like maybe bringing in a more feminine aspect to that and smoothing out something that was a little bit crunchy from the start. And so, and I think just now you were talking about Chaco Canyon. Am I correct?
Yes.
I loved Chaco Canyon. Was actually the first monument site that I actually visited, and had a very powerful experience there. And the land itself gave me a little gift that I actually have here with me in Peru, and it's a very significant place to me. And as you were mentioning the structure of how that was formed, it's just reminding me of a place that I was this past weekend. I was, one of the efforts that we're working on down here, since we have been past the feather, to continue this lineage of gatherings down here in South America. This past weekend, I was with a grandmother, just kind of strengthening alliances, and her family is the guardian of the Temple of Rakchi. And Rakchi is actually it's a place where the Taiwantinsuyo, so the four directions, all united, and the structure is massive. And her family was actually living there like her whole life, and she was just evicted from her house, this temple, in 2000. They came in with bulldozers and literally kicked the family out and declared it a place of the Ministerio de Cultura. So it's now an archaeological site, whereas it was literally their house, this temple, and they're the guardians of this wisdom. But being the beautiful people that they are, they're still carrying forth the spirit and the wisdom of this place, and still have permission as of now to continue doing their ceremonial work. But as we continue to work towards holding a unity of the nations gatherings down here, Grandmother Martina Mamani was actually on the top of our list of people to join with, and they already have that structure there, just as you were speaking in the past, so that we have done this before. And so this kind of brings me on to one of the next questions, which is, how do you foresee young people able to participate and support these initiatives now in the modern age? And how do you see Reviveolution participating in this?
Okay. I know it'll come as a shock to you, but I wasn't all that old when I was doing this. So I was one of the young people. And even though I have the capacity to do it. The elders don't. They know the right things to do, but they don't have the capacity to do it. So that they have to be, because in fact it is their legacy. And let's face it, if we are still looking at that 13 a year and they're the ones that do all the heavy lifting. So yeah, it's a good idea to get the youth involved now, so that way they will be ready to be the juniors. Because my dad was such a powerful member. It's like, oh my God, this is really, really scary. But now nobody will tell me, right? I'll never know if I was chosen because I showed all the right signs, or because my nomination was politically motivated. So it always puts a little bit of an edge into me. But apparently there was still some juice in the prayers, because somehow or other a group of elders a long time ago chose me to be the coordinator for North America. So they must have seen something. They must have seen something there. So who knows? But yeah, I have to think about that. It's like, wow, it's what was behind that? But all the youth have to be brought into the thing, because the youth become the juniors who do all the big work, who then later, from their work, no matter what. And let the heavy lifting be done by the juniors. Train up the youth, and always under the guidance of the elders, and it'll go perfectly. I really look forward to that course correction ceremony in 2028, and once I see that, I will say good night. Thank you very much. It's been a really, really interesting life, and I'll see you in 25,985 years. And we'll have a good time then too.
I'm really happy that you're sharing this word juniors, actually, because that's actually something that's been in my heart and my mind. Is I don't quite feel like a youth. I'm though I still don't fit in your category of junior yet either. I'm 27, and so I've just been referring to us as the present generation, because I wasn't sure of a former word of what we're speaking about, because to me youth feels even a bit younger. But I like what you're sharing, that even if we're considered youth now, that the movement that we're taking now is going to bring us into the juniorhood and into the elderhood. So thank you for sharing that. And how do you see the Reviveolution participating in this and what we're doing right now?
Well, Reviveolution kind of got sucked into it due to the enthusiasm of one Caroline Putnam. Because we didn't even know there was, at least I didn't even know there was such a thing as a Reviveolution. But there was this one very, very enthusiastic youth at the last elders gathering, who, when she heard that I was interested in taking in 2016, maybe even, and I was like, wow, you know what? Who am I to shut this enthusiasm down? It's like, hey, you know what? we've been looking for a coordinator for for these gatherings, ever since. And so it'd be really, really nice to have somebody who's really, really enthusiastic. So, Caroline, tell you what we're going to do. There is this tradition of passing a staff from the elders to the elders that were part of the old gatherings to the recipient of the mandato, the mandate for the new gathering. And so what I am going to do is I am going to ask you if you would accept this staff mandate to be the coordinator for the next gathering. And in my mind, I'm saying, she won't get it done in 2016, but it don't matter because it took me 4 years to do it, and so it's like if it takes her 4 years, so what? In fact, if she does it in 3 years, she beat my time, and that's what the heck? Let's do this. Let's give it to her, and let's see what happens. I mean, this much enthusiasm cannot be suppressed. So anyway, because of your enthusiasm for this mandate, for this vision of continuing the Eagle and Condor connection, Reviveolution got dragged in because you were a member, in fact, maybe even leader of Reviveolution. So that is Reviveolution's connection. It's really, really through you. Like I said earlier, my associates and I, and there at the end, at the actual day of the gathering, I had 100 associates. I had a kitchen staff, three shifts of 9 people. I had about 20 people working security to secure the borders of the gathering. So there was 3 shifts of security people watching the border. There was all of the people. Oh, there was the film crew. There was 6 or 7 cameras. There was translators. There was oh God, how many? There was a bunch of translators because there was all these different languages. So there at the end there was about 100 people involved. Although the actual coordinating committee, the people that actually put on the gathering, was about 15, 20, depending on the time. In the time of the year, sometimes it would grow and people would get real excited and they jump in, and then some would get tired and fall back out, especially when progress was really, really slow. Because usually, everybody gets excited about it. So it's such a great idea. But then when they see how hard it is to raise the money, to work out the details, and some say, oh, it's impossible. Especially when we're looking at the challenge of trying to get undocumented people into the country and all that. They say, oh, no, this can't be done. I'm out of here. So it was a great idea, but it's like, I can't hang with this. and more.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. And yeah, I do remember being overly enthusiastic and not even actually knowing about the lineage of gatherings, but just being the first time in council and really, man, I felt so open and felt like I was just receiving lots of messages and insights to share. And so, yeah, I really appreciate the opportunity to be able to be of support. And for me, what Reviveolution is a conduit for all people of all generations to come together, to be able to support ancestral wisdom coming into place as modern global solutions. And so this is a place for visionaries, for elders, for artists, for people of all different projects and passions and skills to come together. And so little by little, we're arming that as a movement, as a force, whether it's under the name Reviveolution or whatever name it takes on. But so for me, whenever we're speaking of this gathering that wants to occur here in South America, the focus for me, what I would love to see is that bridge between youth or juniors to the elders, and that open platform of dialogue and communication and sharing the wisdom, because I know that through the dispersal of the communities and through the way that modern technology and modern way of life has taken on, it's been quite challenging for elders to actually open up and trust us to be able to bring forth information. So we find that many of our elders are closed to information. Many of our elders are still highly suffering from the effects of what happened to their communities and their families and the boarding schools and the reservations and still today, the mining that's happening even in the communities that I'm working with here. My passion, what I feel so passionate about is like, I would love to get communities together so that we can stop repeating a cycle. So that the communities here in South America, who literally just came off the mountain 10 years ago, can understand that there's people in Canada, like Reuben George, who have constitutions, who have all the paperwork, who've already won against mining, and they have all the information to share with us and unite forces. And I was so really inspired when I heard our elders speaking in that council about the uniting of nations, and you were speaking of the League of Nations, and there were others using different terms speaking about creating a central alliance, like a central council of different nations so that we can share these documents. They were speaking about indigenous sovereignty, like passing laws so that all indigenous nations are sovereign nations, and whether they're Quero, they're not actually a Peruvian passport, it's a Quero passport, and they're freely able to go through the borders and able to go and share their wisdom. I was really inspired by this, given that I had such a challenging time getting the visas for the elders that I'm bringing over and the finances to get them doing that. And then you start walking this really fine line between finances and ceremony. So just so that you can cover the thousands of dollars of transportation and food and accommodations that it costs to bring the elder there. And so I'm really inspired to just provide a platform for both young people and people of all generations to share all of our wisdoms, because I know that the way that I grew up in the U.S. in a military family and Baptist, Methodist, etc., that lifestyle has actually brought me to understand actually how to navigate the modern world in a good way with organic food and community dynamics and vibrancy and healthy living. And so what I would love to be able to share the skills that I have with my Indigenous brothers and sisters, to share with them like how we're working it and how we can just bridge that line in between so that we don't see the last of our tribal nations going into modernity blindly, whereas the mass portion of modern people are trying to come out and coming back to ancestral ways as the solution. So how do we bring that information together so that we're all supported as human beings, as a human family? And that's what I feel so inspired about for this gathering. And I was definitely overzealous about dates for sure, because as I sat down, I actually had like an outlet to be able to make it happen in 2016, and I sat down and I was like, I feel stressed. Like, I don't want to be stressed doing this. So let me actually think of another route. And working here with my friends at Paititi Institute, we decided Well, one of the best routes would be, even though we already have relations with some of our elders here, get to know even more deeply our elders here and have a strong base of elders to be able to receive this. And for us to stand our place as coordinators and bridge people and not being the ones receiving the gathering, but helping to facilitate it in a good way. And so so the first step of that plan, aside from these virtual councils, which we'll continue doing to create those international bridges, we actually have 3 journeys planned in Peru this year. One of them is from June, let me look at the dates, June 12th to the 23rd for the solstice. We're inviting Indigenous leaders. We have 4 Indigenous ceremonial leaders here that we want to continue establishing strong base with. And we're inviting conscious leaders from around the world of all ages and age groups to be able to come and to share and to really envision how we can bring our passions and skills together to be able to make a gathering of this capacity happen. And so doing that through connecting to the Andes, connecting to the Apus, connecting to the ceremonial traditions, and then planting that on the solstice, on Island of the Sun, to let it flourish and flow. Which is actually where some of those ashes from the ceremonial fire in Sedona have already been planted. The next gathering that we'll do will actually be a women's gathering because I want to strengthen the forces of the grandmothers and the women to have a strong voice in this, and that'll be September 5th to 16th. And we're hoping to bring Grandma Karina down from Squamish, Canada, as well as connecting here with the local Andean grandmothers. And then on September 30th to October 6th, we want to try a new route of having a benefactor gathering and see if we can begin branching out to people of corporate positions, people of high positions, and see how we can reflow resources in a good way to help support this. We're very highly aware that the resources for pulling off a gathering of this magnitude is definitely a task in itself. And so one of the ways that we would like to go about that is offering transformational experiences and really getting to know people on a heart level, not just reaching out to an organization that we don't know and just trying to create that monetary connection, but actually creating a heart connection and reestablishing the value of what Indigenous wisdom has to provide in all of our lives. And so, yeah, these are the 3 events that we have planned for this year, and we'll begin putting that out on the website and promoting those shortly to get the right people that feel that calling to come and support so that we can begin arming forces for that gathering. And there's definitely no date still planned on this side, not something that I want to force, just want to continue organically forming the core team and see where it goes from there. And so, yeah, that's where we're at right now down here, and no overzealous dates provided.
Yay, but your enthusiasm is still there, and that's what really counts. Actually, I think what motivated me a lot was the memory and the consciousness that this has been done before. So that kept me going. I think if I didn't remember, if I didn't have some kind of connection to that, I would have quit, because I said, "Oh man, this can't be done. This has never been done. It can't be done. It'll never be done." But the knowledge that it had been done before kept me putting one foot in front of the other to really keep moving in that direction, and knowing that not only had it been done before in the past, but I was third gathering, so it's like it had just been done like 4 years earlier, so it definitely could be done. Oh, I have to tell you, the coordinator for South America had a really rough time. It was the second organization that he organized that actually did the final gathering. The first organization just went, they worked on it like for a year, 2 years maybe, and it just went poof. They just couldn't handle it. And he even had to organize a whole new group under a whole new name to carry on the work. So don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. This thing is a real whack to do. It's tough. So don't if Reviveolution just goes poof, no big deal. I know, there'll be some tears, but say, well, ooh, that was interesting. Okay, let's try it again. So just wanted to add that to the mix. Just let you know that it can happen. It didn't happen to me. I was very, very fortunate. I had a core group that was ridiculously committed. What I had was a lot of Native people, so that really, really helped. The Native people could stick with it, but in the back of your head. So when you do see a little bit of discouragement, it's like, oh well, this happens. This is part of the process. It's okay. We'll carry on. So it was something else I wanted to say, but I guess. Oh yes, the feminine meetings you're having, very important. Very important. See. Had all the right qualifications and all of that sort of stuff. So, and I had the energy of the age at my back. So, it was pretty good. So anyway, this is a feminine age. So I need to remind you, you have the energy of the feminine at your back, but you're going to have to cultivate it. And men haven't quite given it up. They know they're supposed to, but they forget. They're like, well, let's just do it the way we always did it. It's like, no, back off. The way we used to do it was from that period. We're now in this period, and the way they used to do it don't fly today. So try to keep that feminine energy as the strongest part of the thing. Because I had only a few women in my group. Most of the group was composed of men, but that was just the age. You're going to have to take advantage of your situation, which is you are couple of millimeters into the feminine age, and so cultivate that energy. It's there. It really is there. I did the ceremonies. I know it's there. Put it there. Mm-hmm. Just grab it and use it. Mm-hmm. So please do that. Gracias. Yes, continue in that vein.
Gracias. Yeah, that's definitely just on a personal level. Like, that's actually the biggest message I received in the Sedona gathering. I sat next to Grandma Margarita and next to Grandma Karina, and the moment I sat in their circle, I just began crying. I was like, wow, I've never sat in a circle of women before, and I just cried just from that. They weren't even particularly speaking about anything like just mystic or sacred, or they were just hanging out as women, and I just felt the power of that, and then the message that I got was like, you're not crazy, you're a woman, and there's all this other wisdom and intuitions and emotions, and this is all beautiful and really actually a skill, and just like you said, to cultivate. And so I do feel, on a very personal level, feel very passionate to continue working with grandmothers in particular, to be able to cultivate a strong presence as a female, and standing strong in my own empowerment, and being able to offer that as well to others. And so that is the base of these gatherings in September, is for women to be able to stand strongly in their power and be able to utilize those skills and passions in this larger picture that's not only feminine, that's also masculine, because the feminine is actually the balance. It's both wings flying now. It's not one over the other or the women in front. It's both wings flying evenly. And so, I feel really honored to be part of that. And that's definitely like one of the highest callings that I have right now, is just to continue working with grandmothers and, bringing that wisdom forth. And so just as a last like question and little tying up, I'd love to know just a bit more about the League of Nations and what you see is with that, because I know this is something that continues to come to the plate for Reviveolution, especially through Andy Mack, and he's just been sharing a lot about that. We're working on a proclamation as well, and so I just want to know a little bit more about the League of Nations, and if it was functioning in its optimal state, what do you see occurring to help this unity of nations?
Okay, I'll tell you the story of the League of Nations from my perspective. Now, this was in 1980. This was even before the before the Mayak showed up and told me it was time to do the gatherings. In 1980, I went to a meeting of Native the kind of work that needs to be done. If we're going to defend a small tribe from an international corporation or a government, it's going to have to be a little bit more than 3 or 4 tribes and maybe a couple hundred people. So I'm behind it. I'm 100% behind it. Do you have any other question?
No, not at all. Thank you so much. I feel very honored for having this moment to share with you today in virtual council, and to just be really informed about the lineage of these gatherings and your experiences and the coffee breaks and the and all of the interesting points that you're touching on that are actually still issues that likely even worse today about the borders and the visas and the finances and the challenges of bringing together various cultures with various ideologies. And so we definitely don't take this lightly and understand. I think one of the beautiful things about the generation that we're part of is the creativity, the artists, the music, just the full capacity of creativity and the capacity that technology allows us to facilitate that creativity. So I'm hoping that this creativity and common vision is what brings us together and just continue paving these footsteps. And I'm also aware that there's other lineages of Eagle Quetzal Condor gatherings going on now, or Eagle Condor gatherings. And so that's definitely both a challenge and a blessing. I think I see, if you envision it as little pockets of gatherings already occurring, then ideally, like contacting those coordinators little by little, making personal relations with those coordinators will just naturally have a larger gathering come together. So rather than having one coordinator for North America, maybe there's several that are already occurring, and so finding those moments to just continue coming together, which is why the small ceremonies and the small pilgrimages are also important, because that's where we're making those personal connections, and that's where we're coming together and we're praying and then allowing these bigger visions to occur. So thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom and insights today. I really appreciate that, and I'm sure everybody out there joining us in council today also appreciate it. And we definitely look forward to speaking again soon on Virtual Council, as well as to continue sharing documents. We just created a virtual space to share some of the documents. Right before I got on this, I actually linked you into some of our team members. So, we look forward to continuing this. And you're actually the first grandfather that we've had on Virtual Council, so welcome. we stuck to all grandmothers at first.
What an honor. Thank you. And my last word of wisdom: keep up.
Mm-hmm.
Just keep up. Don't let anything stop you. There are obstacles. Jump over them, crawl under them, walk around them, whatever. Just keep on keeping on, because that's the way it's done. And if you have to cry a lot. If you have to laugh even more, because that's the way it's done. Oh, and don't forget about the naked Indians from the Amazon walking across the concourse at Houston Airport. And I said they were wearing teeth and feathers and all that. I didn't mention the fact that that's all they were wearing. So your elder, standing there with his underwear, actually he was overdressed compared to underwear. Oh shoot, he was wearing underwear. What the heck? No problem.
That's beautiful. Well,
okay, enough of my humor. I will let you close this conversation now.
Okay, so let me grab this here. Muchas gracias. Thank you to Pachamama, Mother Earth. Thank you to the Apus, Great Spirit, Apu Viracocha, Hatun Espiritu. Thank you to Mama Coca, who has been joining us and guiding us through this day, through the conversations, through her wisdom and communication. Thank you to all the grandfathers and grandmothers before us who have paved these ways and passed down the wisdom and passed down this information verbally, through weavings, through song, through dances. We're asking Great Spirit and Pachamama to continue enlivening us with these stories, with these truths, with this information, so that we can keep it in our cultural memory, keep it in our personal memory, and keep walking forth as pristine human beings on this planet, and re-inheriting this earth in a beautiful way, and living in a beautiful way, in reciprocity, and living in community, globally, locally, living in connection to the earth, and really carrying forth that truth and information and wisdom. Thank you for this moment to be able to utilize technology in a beautiful way, to share this wisdom and transmit it farther and wider than have ever been possible in the past. And may we continue utilizing our creativity to expand technology, to expand these wisdom ways, and to all be living in vibrant life ways together. So, muchas gracias por este momento. Gracias, Mama Peru. Gracias a los Andes. And gracias a Nuevo Mexico. Thank you to all the experiences that have brought us here today. And may we continue walking forth in truth. Ayaya Pachamama. Gracias.